I guess on my hair, she look all right. And with that actually sitting there like this creams, and I had to have them, sis. All 5 of them. Here, I just had, we're gonna discontinue it, but I had to pick up their book of shadows, honey. Color grade makes cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. Wow, so serious. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Torrence here, and in today's video, we are playing with Natasha Denona. Honey, I understand. If you all are a returning subscriber to my channel, you've probably watched the video. I'll make sure I leave that link right here above, talking about how I'm not giving Natasha Denona no more of my money, honey. I promise you, that video is worth watching before you come here and watch this one. But if you've already watched that one, you understand why I was talking about how I truly enjoy and use her $25 palettes more than her $129 palettes. And to show y'all what I'm talking about, we're going to still be honest. We're going to give y'all the pros and cons of everything. This time, I wanted it to be a first impressions. That way we can both see exactly what her $25 palettes has to offer. And I'm telling you, the Natasha Denona Gold palette, what other palette could do it? I've already used her Mini Sunset and Lila, and I really enjoy those. So something kept telling me, Torrence, she gonna keep up with that, and this gold palette is gonna bring it to you. But she not without her flaws. I'm telling you, the look here you see, fabulous. But whether this is worth adding to your collection or not, you may want to go ahead and watch to find out. Also, make sure you check out my previous video. I'll leave that link right here above. That is for the Juvia's Place Zulu palette, and in that video I'm doing a tutorial with the Zulu palette and also giving away that palette, the Tri palette, as well as the Nubian Mini. This giveaway is international to anyone in the world, but I'm willing to ship this anywhere to whoever wins. So if you want to win, all you have to do is watch that video to find out. But today we're using the Mini Gold palette. So before we get into this tutorial, I want to make sure I give you a close-up view of the palette as well as swatches. Alright, you guys, first up we have a close-up view. This is the Natasha Denona Mini Gold palette, and she is very beautiful but very small. I am telling you, it was really difficult today to get swatches simply because most of my fingers do have long nails. I did break one over the past week, so that thumbnail is the only one that I could not use today. The palette does come with a clear lid so you can see the shadows, but I wanted to open it up so you can go ahead and get a view of what these shadows look like without anything in the way. Even though we only have 5 different shades here, there appears to be 4 different formulas. Shades number 1 and 4 is her cream to powder formula. Number 2 is a pearl. Number 3 is a metallic. And number 5 is a duochrome. And this right here is what the swatches look like. And as you can see, with shades number 1 and 4, her cream to powder, they do not swatch the easiest. I am someone who generally prefers just plain mattes. But with Natasha Denona, I have come to find that I really do enjoy her cream to powder a little more than her matte formula. I just find it to be a bit more reliable. Her shimmers give me no issues normally. Her pearl, metallic, and duochromes are absolutely beautiful. All of these shades were swatched one time over no primer, except shade number 1. When I first went in with my index finger, I found that my finger may have been a little bit large for these small pans, so I did try to swatch it again with the pinky. Didn't get much, better than that. And then I went in finally with my thumb, just because I felt as if my thumb gave me the most coverage like it did on shade number 5. And with that, it did give me a little bit more, but as you can see, with 3 swatches, shade number 1 still really isn't competing with how much coverage I get from the other 4 shades. Alright, you guys, time to jump into things. Per usual, with all of my tutorials, I leave all tools and products used in the description bar below. So if you ever want to know what's on my face, just make sure you check that out. But it is time to go ahead and get into this, because honey, I've been waiting to dip back into eyeshadows. Y'all know, lately I've been doing either straight up neutrals or greens. But I ain't mad at myself about it. Just so happens, this palette was next up on the list, and it is greens. So let's go ahead and get started. Eyes are already prepped, and I know for sure I can pull off all 5 shades today. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start right up here on the top. The first shade in the palette is called Lash. It's a cream to powder formula, and we're going to use this as our transition shade all over the lid. And I'm letting you know now, honey, I have loaded my brush up because this is supposed to be a cream to powder formula. So if I get any fallout or anything, I know that's my fault, but I'm doing eyes first. It's just normally with her cream to powder, I have to build and build. So we're going to go in and see just how much coverage you can give us. Because remember, this was the shade they gave us the most issues when we was doing swatches. And all those swatches are not an indication of the true quality of a shadow, because just because it glides across the arm with a finger pad does not mean you'll get bad performance from an eyeshadow with a brush. Swatches are just to give me an indication of what the color will look like, but applying something to your eye with a brush is completely different than to your arm, you know, with the finger. And I'm going to go in, I'm going to tap my brush off this time and do a second layer. This shade is going on very smoothly. I'm telling you, it goes on way better with the brush than it did with my finger. It's doing what a transition shade is supposed to do. It's just leaving color but not being too prominent, because I'm going to wait till I move my brush from in front of my eye so you can see the difference between one side with that color and one side without it. And you can see when I look straight forward, this side is just nice and bright. You can see we just have that primer here. This side gives me a little more depth, and you can see where it looks like my brow bone is highlighted here. So as a transition shade, she gives me no issues. I'm going to put a little more here. The one thing I can say is for a cream to powder, she surely is powdery in the pan. But that means she's just going to act more like a powder, and I'm trying to see. I don't even see any fallout right here at the bottom of my eye. Okay, let's go ahead then. All right, Natasha, we're going to jump to the other side. Be right back. Next, I want to add more depth and dimension to my crease, so we're going to go into shade number 4. This shade is called Bia. It's also a cream to powder formula, and we're going to use this throughout our crease over our entire lid. Did I say over the entire lid? I meant throughout our crease and our outer V. Working too fast, honey. So we're going to press an even smaller blending brush. I'm looking at the amount of kick up here. It seems like it's about the same. It has much more of a powdery texture. And I'm going to leave my brush loaded up once again just to see how much fallout we're going to get on this side. I'm going to go a little lower into the crease. Build her up. Okay, and you can see that green is starting to come out a little better. She's giving me grungy vibes, but we did go in with a slightly cooler tone color. Much more neutral to cool, in my opinion, on my complexion. And with this first layer, it is putting that color there, but I am not getting complete opacity. It's just slightly coming through as a green tone. So I am definitely going to want to go in and add a second layer. We can go ahead and diffuse those edges now just to make it a little easier on ourselves. But we are definitely going to have to go back in, load our brush all the way up. I'm talking thoroughly, honey. Looking so far, still no fallout. That's a good thing. Gonna go back in. I want to start low. Move my brush a little bit slower to try to get as much of that pigment to hold on. I want to start off low into the crease and then buff and build our way up to more opacity and a softer blend. And this does not look to me like she is going to come off as an intense, deep, dark, grungy green, at least not on my complexion. So we're going to go ahead now, load it up on one side of the brush, and just press that into the outer V. Now, honestly, I probably could have done that a little later, but because I want a little more depth and a little more dimension with this, we're going to go ahead and do it now. Okay, and remember, this isn't going to give us all the depth and dimension we want for this look. We just want this to make it easier for the next color, make it easier for the next color to blend in. So I'm liking what we have there. It's a nice smoky soft green look. So I'll be back after I do this on the other side. Although I'm loving the blend on this look, I'm not loving how much depth I'm getting with just the two matte shades. So I'm going to go into this pearl shade here. This is shade number 2. It's called Dark Sepia. And we're going to slowly build and blend this in to give us a little more depth and dimension. Alright, now here's the thing. We might get some fallout with this shade because this shade has some shimmer to it, but I really wanted to add some color to my crease, baby. Right now she alright, but she ain't giving me everything I need. So we're going to start off building it up right here on the outer V. We don't want to take it all the way up to where we have it covered with that green because we want to be able to diffuse that up to that area. So I'm going to place it here first. Then I'm going to start in my outer V and buff that out into my lowest part of my crease, honey. I'm going to take that all the way from back here and buff it up, and we're going to go very slow and in layers because I want the color to come through, but not necessarily that shine. And the more you buff and blend, more than likely the more shine you're going to get. But as you can see, by just taking that little amount right there, the outer V right here is much darker than this side, as well as the crease appears to sink in a little bit more. And just to give me that tiny bit more depth and dimension, we're going to do it one more time. And we're going to press it on the outer V first because this is where we want the deepest and darkest area. Blend it up to that green, but don't cover it. Press it one more time, then we're going to go from the outer V, buff it up into the crease, honey. I want to try to keep this brush as low as possible. And then once you feel as if you have the color as deep as you want, then you can lift your brush slightly and diffuse those edges. We don't want harsh lines. Okay, now that's what I'm talking about. Over here, she nice and cute if I was doing an all matte look, but over here, I need you to go ahead and give me something I can cut later on for my crease. Be right back. Oh, honey, 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 look how dark and murky and grungy this is. I absolutely love green eyeshadows, and although that's not a matte black, she close enough for me. I got to hurry up, grab my NYX glitter adhesive. Honey, got to cut my crease. I am too excited to see what this final look is going to be like. You just don't understand. So my Morphe M421 brush, we're going to use this to cut our crease. I don't want to take it all the way over the lid because we did put in that beautiful time to create that outer V. So there's no point of getting rid of it. I'm going to cut my crease rather high though. That much you best believe. I always have to remember to get close to the lash line, honey, because I will forget and it'll be a gap of space where eyeshadow is and skin is, and that ain't cute. Okay, and just softly diffuse it over the edges of the outer V. Okay, just to make sure I did not cover up any of my outer V, I'm going to go back in with shade number 4 and just tap that over the very edges of that glitter primer to make sure I know where to stop on each side and still have a seamless blend. Then we're going to go back over with our shade number 2 and just make sure that outer V is deepened up. We could have did this last, but I want to come back in and just do it now. Now for our lids, it's time to go ahead and get as shimmery and sparkly as we can. So we're going to start off with the inner half and this shade here in the middle. It's a metallic. I believe it's called Dior. I doubt if that's how you say it, baby. I don't know no French, so. And then for the outer half, we're going to go into shade number 5, which is a duochrome, and this shade is called Anthea. And honey, ain't no point in me lying. This shade here is chunky and thick and sparkly, and that is exactly why I am excited to put him right here on the inner lid. Honey, if you don't have some type of adhesive or something on your skin, you're going to make sure you spray your brush, because as powdery and as chunky as that is, I wouldn't trust him without it. I'm getting more fallout than anything. I think he had the most fallout when I was doing swatches. But with an adhesive underneath him, honey, you can see how he foils and shines from across the room. Be right back, honey. All right, and now for the final part on the upper lid, we're gonna go in with Anthea. This is the duochrome, and I'm telling you, honey, duochromes are my favorites, and this color is beautiful. She looks like she's gonna be just as powdery as that third shade, the one we put on the inner half, but she doesn't have as much fallout or as much kick up, and she applies a little bit smoother. The thing is, as a duochrome, you are getting that shape-shifting color going on, so you see more than one color, but she doesn't have quite the shine as the metallic there. So you can see when I turn my head here, you can see how this shifts just slightly from that yellow to that green. But this by itself seems to appear that it would be much more brighter and much more vivid without this duochrome on the outer edge. But I want to use all 5 shades, so I'm going to put that on and I'll be right back. Alright you guys, we are done with everything that we're going to do on the upper half of the lids. I need to cut away and finish off the face. I'm looking right now, and as you can see, we do have some fallout. Most of it was from the shimmer shades because the cream to powders gave me no fallout. That shade we have right here in the front, the Dior shade, has dropped a little bit. The duochrome honestly has a bit too, and so that shimmer. So it seems like anything that isn't cream to powder will do some fallout, but those shimmers were my fault. I really did go in, pile them on because I wanted the most metallic sheen. So we're going to go ahead, wipe this away. I'm going to finish off my face, and when I come back, I'm going to show you how we're going to finish off the lower lash line. I'm going to need y'all to forgive me because I completely forgot I was recording for YouTube. Cut away, started on the face, received a call from my sister, and honey, I'm on the phone just cackling. Yeah, girl, we gonna do this. Ha 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 ha. Got off the phone, was thinking I'm about to go sit down and enjoy a snack. Walked past the mirror and was like, "You got on makeup? You was doing makeup." We backed up. And because we was already wearing Natasha Denona, I figured, you know what? Add a couple more of her things in just so you could spice things up. So, first off, for blush, my Natasha Denona Blush Duo Palette, I have color number 14, and I'm wearing the shade Golden Coral. I really like this formula, and it's crazy how I've used this several times, and today is the very first time I noticed this has a slight perfume scent to it. When I was buffing it on, I'm like, wait, is that my brush? Did I put something on it? Got closer and realized the scent is there, but I've used it for months and never noticed it. So it's not a very strong one, but if for any reason you are sensitive to scents, I would watch out and test this out first. But this is a beautiful color. Just something to bring a soft glow, a soft pink color. I tend to go overboard with blush, so I personally think I could go for a darker color, but I really like this one. For a highlighter, brought in the beaming, the infamous Super Glow by Natasha Denona. Absolutely fabulous. I wish she would extend the shade range, honey, because this is shade 02 Light Medium, and this is my complexion. I believe this only comes in 3 different shades, so Natasha, you really could step your game up on that one. Like, we need more than 3 shades of this. For eyeliner on the lower lash line, I have the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil in the shade Mildew. I wanted something green, but something also grungy, so I didn't want to go bright with my other two. I think my loudest green one is Freak. She's way too bright and vivid for today's look. And this other one is Overdrive. I used this last time, and she's a little too dark and not grungy enough, so I really like this one here, Mildew. She's beautiful, but she does have to be built up a little more than my average liner. And on lips, I wanted to test out something new, but this is from ABH. I purchased this a while ago and never used it. The lipstick is their new matte lipstick formula. This is the shade Velvet. And to me, she looks like a nice, slightly mauve-y nude. Let me see if I can get you all a close-up of what she looks like right there. Nice, pretty little basic shade. And at first, I didn't think she would be complimentary on my skin tone. So I always test out new lipsticks with the MAC Cork pencil. I know she's just a basic mid-tone nude liner for me. If I need to go darker, I will go with Chestnut, but I really like to test it out with Cork first just to see what it looks like. At first, the color wasn't giving me much, Texture was beautiful. Opacity, beautiful. It was smooth and creamy. Now that it's had a little time to set, I'm like, ooh, it looked like Cork might go ahead and get it because I can clearly tell that this is a lipstick and not just, you know, a lip liner or anything. I can tell I actually have something on. Personally, I would probably prefer to put a gloss on top of it, but we're gonna go ahead and see what she looked like after we spray and set everything. But we still got lower lash line. Honey, the skin, just a basic another day. I'll leave everything in the description bar below. But I really want to go in and finish these eyes off because, baby, I want to see what she gonna look like. To start things off on our lower lash line, we're gonna go back to our first shade here, Lodge, and we're gonna use our largest and fluffiest pencil brush, and we're gonna smoke this out across the entire lower lash line. And this is going to be very simple. We're just gonna start on the outer end and just buff her out. This is a color I really don't plan on seeing much because it's on the lower lash line. But once we buff our next color in, that's when she's gonna show out and show you that she's been there the whole time, honey. Gonna go in with the second layer, dust my brush up. This time I'm gonna start from the center and work my way out. Connect that on the outer end. And that's all it's gonna take for that color. You're barely gonna see her till we get the next one on. Now we're gonna go back into that fourth shade Bia. We want to add a little bit of green to our lower lash line. So we're gonna take a smaller blending brush and buff that out. Alrighty, honey, now we're gonna start on the outer end and push her up and out and through. Remember, this is gonna give us a little green, but it's not gonna give us the depth and dimension we want. So we will still have to go back into our pearl shade. But we want them to remember that this is a green look, in fact, so we're going to do 2 layers of that. And we're going to buff that all the way across, honey. As long as you can look at this and tell that that green has been applied to the lower lash line, that's all I am worried about. And you can see this side now is much more smokier than that side, honey. I am loving the grunginess of this green color. I am telling you, I can't get enough of it. Change of plans, everybody. I was going to take my push liner brush and go into dark sepia right here, give me a little more grunginess on the lower lash line, but I'm like, what I'm seeing right now is so pretty, and I really like the way this gold shade in the middle shines, so I want to bring a little bit of that to the lower lash line. So we're going to go into this shade here, Dior, and we're going to put that on the inner half right there. We're not going to take it all the way across. Be right back. And honey, this could possibly go wrong because this is a shimmer shade, but we're gonna try to get as close as we can to that lower lash line and just press that right up there. Cause remember I told y'all, this shade is chunky and flaky and I forgot to spray. So I really just want to see what that looked like by pressing her in on my own. I'm not sure if you can see it in person. This does have a little more fullness to it. And what I think I'm gonna do is go in and do this on both sides first, and then we'll go back and spray it because I don't want to risk transferring moisture to my eyeshadow pan and creating hard pan when it ain't necessary. But just looking at these two like this, she appeared to be holding up. So now we got that on there. Oh yeah, I'm telling y'all, in the pan, it is chunks flying everywhere, honey, everywhere. We'll go ahead and spray you real fast. I don't know what you thought this was, but you're gonna join the party. And I just said I didn't want to double dip that while I sweat and just did anyway. But I just really got to see how, oh yeah, honey. Foiling your brush, spraying your brush and foiling that shadow easily gives you much more intensity. That's twice as opaque as it was on the top. I think you can even see that sparkle from across the room on that one, honey. Got to have that. Last step for the eyes is to highlight our inner corner and our brow bone. And because I've used all 5 shades in the palette already, I'm just going to go ahead and use my face highlighter because it'll complement my skin. And you all know I like to load my brush up. You can see all of that product on there for the inner corner. Honey, you can never go too ham for me. Look at that on that one side. Beaming. Booming on that side. Nothing on that side, honey. Want to go back in and make sure that carries over to the under part of my inner eye corner because I want that to carry around. I don't want it to just be gold right here and blink right there, honey. I'm going to do that on both sides and try to get off as much product off of my brush as I possibly can. Big beam of light, and what's left, I'm going to just swipe once across the back of my hand and use that to highlight the brow bone. I don't need it to be extremely bold, extremely sharp there. And you can see where I just accidentally added too much, but we're going to go on back in and buff her out. Alright, honey, and look at her. She looks like she is ready to go, so time to grab your sprays, honey, because you know I'm about to grab mine. Fix Plus to give us a glowy dew. All-nighter so things last all day. Cheap fan, expensive breeze, good times. I'm going to give this a few more seconds to dry down and I'll be back to give you all my final thoughts. And this is the final look. I want to go ahead and give you all a full face view of things before I give you all my final thoughts. And honey, you know I love me some greens. I think this look is so pretty. You can't tell me nothing about it. The only issues I would say I came across as far as this palette is concerned is for me personally. I'm only speaking for me. This middle shade here, this metallic, she's beautiful. You see, she's the star of the show. The problem is, if you do not go in with that shade either wet because you sprayed your brush or with a tacky base, she gonna cause a mess. She's chunky in the pan whether you're using your finger or a brush. She's chunky when you swatch her. It's issues. But as long as you are prepared for her, like I said, wet your brush or put down a tacky base, she good. These cream to powders, swatch terribly, blend beautifully. No issues with them. Buildable, blendable, no patchiness. Only thing I personally wish is that they had a darker color. They didn't give us that. They did give us this pearl shade here. She did get the job done, but I personally wish she didn't have quite as much shine to her. That way I would feel more comfortable building her up without building up the amount of shine that I would get in my crease. But this whole look here came out beautiful. And it's just crazy to me that I can go in with Natasha Denona's $25 palettes and be like, I'm good. I can use all the shades. Nothing is just trash. Would I want some things to be better? Yes. But nothing about this palette says, no, I will not use you. I don't want to even try to attempt to make you work. I don't have any hard pan. I did have fallout, but with most shimmers, I can get fallout. To know that I was able to build and blend out both matte shades, keep it moving. It's grungy, she's pretty. It's like, look at her, sis. I am loving her. The thing is, I completely forgot to mention, off camera, I did go back in and put a little bit of gloss on because I was wearing an ABH lipstick. I went in on top with the Honey Diamond Lip Gloss. She is beautiful. You can see that there. It's a clear gloss with gold reflex. The thing is, I do not like this applicator. When you try to pull her out, it seems like a lot of product comes dragging with it. In the tip, I'm trying slowly to pull this out. It's like a flat doe foot, and she's very bendable. So when you're pulling it out, it feels like it's gonna pop off, but it doesn't. And you see, just getting her back in, she fighting the. I like the formula, but I see myself always, I think I'm going to just cut the tip of this off and just use a disposable one every time I use this because she's trash. And I completely forgot today I am testing out a new primer. Well, new to me. This is the Urban Decay All Nighter Face Primer. Completely forgot to mention it. I'm like, I am getting a slightly different, more dewy look to my face. So we're going to test this out again to make sure that's what's doing it. Because I did forget that I was recording when I was on camera. So I'm like, baby, we got to do it again so we can get a full, true, how long does this last? But I'm telling y'all, I am so excited that I finally used this palette. Because I think it was the 2nd or 3rd week of January. I'll leave that video linked right here. I completely forgot that I told you all it was 12 palettes in my collection that I wanted to use before the end of 2021. They are all older palettes in my collection. And guess what's an older one? Guess which was first one on the list? So I'm like, Torrence, you had 12 months to use 12 palettes and you ain't did none of them. But I got a little bit over 12 weeks. So I'm like, if you could do one per week, you good. Number one, she out the door. I ain't want to say that until the look was completed. I was done. This is the end of the video so I can happily say I got at least one of the 12 out. We're going to try to get another one. Also, do not forget, you still have time to submit questions to my Q&A. I'll leave that video link right here. That is my flood update video. Any questions you want to know about me, my life, my career, my personal life, family, friends, things like that, I'll be willing to answer those questions, but you must make sure you submit those questions on that Q&A video. Don't think I have anything else to talk about right now. This look is cute, honey. Make sure you all let me know which video you want to see next, because, honey, I ain't got much time to get everything on, but I'm trying to get as much content out for you all before I head back to work, because I really do think I'm going back in November, but we're going to pray for the best. We don't know what's going on, honey. All I can do is my best. Pray for tomorrow. It's all in the Lord's hands on what's going to actually happen. But I hope you all truly did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Oh, and also, you all leave me a comment down below how y'all feel about these braids. I am really enjoying them. Last time I got the large knotless. This time I got the medium. I'll make sure I leave Diamond's information down below because she did a stunning job on these braids. But with nothing else, I hope you all remember to practice, continue to stay blessed, and until next time, goodbye, YouTube.